Hello, my love. Welcome to the Kat Cantrill Show. I am your host, Kat Cantrill, the love coach. I show women how to attract the love of their life. I teach high-achieving single women how to tear down the walls and create the love they deserve. Since 2013, I've led thousands of women to true love. I help women who make an impact in their own lives. The Kat Cantrill Show features topics that affect single high-achieving women the most. So let's begin. Hello, gorgeous woman. Welcome to the show. I am your host and love coach, Kat, and welcome to episode 17, and I am feeling myself today. So let me ask you something. Do you only wash your hair? How often do you wash your hair first? And maybe you can let me know. How often do you wash your hair? Maybe I should ask Instagram this. How often do you wash your hair? And I guess that's it. That's the only question I have is how often you wash your hair. Okay, so I wash my hair once a week. So here's a confession. I wash my hair only once a week, and I wash it on recording days. So every Tuesday I record an episode for you for the following week, and I do Facebook Live. So I do those two things, and I want to be feeling good about myself. So it's not Tuesday, just so you know. I'm feeling super sassy. I got my hair done today. I changed up my color a little bit, and I'm feeling great. So I thought I would go ahead and record this episode for you. So if you watch this on YouTube, you can tell my hair's a little bit different, and maybe you can let me know what you think about it in the comments. All right. So, ladies, sweet woman. Okay, so I'm going to talk about a subject matter that I'm going to touch on it. And I'm going to make this episode a little bit shorter than usual because it's pretty much clear and to the point. So, just so you know, if you're not familiar, I do strategy calls, discovery calls. They're 20-minute free calls. So if you're interested in working with me, I will send you a link to fill out a form and to schedule your very own free 20-minute call. And I send you away with some homework. It's a win-win situation. I get the honor of meeting with you and talking with you, and you get to walk away with some homework. And I had a strategy call last week. A woman had contacted me because she wanted to know how to meet people. Now granted, we know that these are different times, but she was looking for advice on how to meet different people, how to get herself out there. And as we're talking through what she's been going through, one of the things that I've realized that we do as women first is that we have our walls up, right? Especially if you've been hurt before. A lot, many times. And if you're listening to this, most likely you have. Or maybe you've had that one love in your past that you're still it still stings. And so when we're hurt so deeply, it's really easy for us to put up the walls and to go through life to protect ourselves, right? This is a way that we protect ourselves. And when it comes to meeting new people, we are so afraid to open ourselves up, to be vulnerable with a potential person. And as I was talking to her and giving her different ways of connecting with people, we know that with online dating, it's difficult. We know with online dating, you're yearning to have a connection. This is why in-person is so important, even through Zoom. But in-person connection is so important. But in order to have an in-person connection, now granted, I know these are crazy times, but you could always set up a Zoom call. I'm just letting you know that the only way that we can connect, that is the whole point of dating, is to be able to see if you have a connection with someone else. It's the whole reason. if you can't walk into a situation to where you are feeling the only way, I guess the only way, what I'm saying is the only way that you can connect with someone is if you are in a state of vulnerability, meaning you are willing to put down those walls just a little bit. You want to be able to connect with that person. And the only way that you can connect is by them being vulnerable and allowing yourself to be vulnerable. Not jaded, not talking about your ex all the time while you're on the date, not talking about all your previous dates and how much they've hurt you, not talking about how all men are the same. It's up to us to be in the moment and be vulnerable in the moment in order to have a connection with someone. Now, that's one part of it. The second part of it is that you have to you cannot make assumptions. As women, we love to categorize and put everything into a box. Well, if I do this, this person is going to assume this. If I don't do this, this person is going to assume this. If I don't do this, this person is going to assume this. And one of the things that she had told me was that I asked her what her hobbies were. So when we talk about connecting and we talk about finding, being able to be around other people, one of the questions I ask is, what are your hobbies? Like, what are your interests? So we know we're kind of to start steering you and to get you among other like-minded people. And she said that she loved being adventurous. And she said that there was an event that was in another town, which is 2 hours away. And she said, people don't want long distance relationships. And I said, that is a lie. If you don't want a long distance relationship, that's one thing. But to generalize and say, I'm not going to make myself vulnerable by driving for 2 hours. I'm not going to make myself vulnerable by walking into a room where I really don't know anyone, because there was an event that was going on that she was interested in going. And assuming that everybody in that room isn't going to want to talk to you because they don't want a long distance relationship is absurd, right? To be able to already assume what someone else is going to think or feel about you is a way to protect yourself. This is fear talking, right? This is fear telling you and your inner mean girl, or whatever you want to call her, that she's talking to you and trying to convince you to not do these things because it is a state of vulnerability. When you put yourself out there and you're like, yeah, I drove 2 hours to come to this event because I want to meet new people, that is a state of vulnerability. You are making the effort to show up. And I talk about this, and I probably will say this almost every episode. You have to show up in your life for you first, right? So showing up for you first. And second, that if you're truly looking to attract love, you need to show up in your own life first, but then show up for the other person. Be that person that you would want them to be for you. So if you want to make a connection with someone, you want them to be vulnerable, and you want them to be in a state of vulnerability to the point where you know that they care to be there. So I told her to go to the event because one of her hobbies, she told me she loved adventure. And I said, well, this is an adventure. Instead of looking at it like, oh, I can't believe I'm going to drive for 2 hours to go to this event, and what is everyone going to think, and not being in a state of fear versus, oh my gosh, this is so much fun. I'm going to walk into this group and I don't know anybody, and I'm going to make this an adventure, and I'm going to drive for 2 hours. What a great story. And I teach this to my clients all the time. Create these experiences for you. I mean, what a great story and who knows who she's going to meet? I don't know. I need to follow up with her, because that's what I do is I do follow up. I do hold you accountable, and I want to know what's going on because I want the details. But I can't believe I just did this. Like, I have crab finger. Crab. Can you hear that? It's my fingernails. Okay. Sorry. But I want to know, I get really excited about this. I want to know the details. So I hold you accountable. So I need to contact her, and maybe I'll fill you guys in on what happened. But instead of assuming, don't assume what other people are going to think and feel about you. That's not fair. That's not fair to that person. That's your fear talking. So if you're not going to allow yourself to let those walls down, just come down just a little bit and allow yourself to be vulnerable when you go on a date or even in any situation. In order for us to have connections with other people, we have to be vulnerable. In fact, as you're listening and watching this show, this is a state of vulnerability for me. We would not have this relationship if I decided to not step out and be vulnerable. And I had a discussion. I was asked to be on this panel of influencers for this college. They were doing a college class about influencers, and I was honored. I've never, by the way, have thought of myself as an influencer, just so you know. Never thought of it that way, but I was honored, and that was one of the things that I talked about on even with social media and with who you are as a person, that it's so important to be somewhat vulnerable. That's how we feel. That's how we find love. That's how we make connections. And when you are on social media and you're making those posts, that is a point of vulnerability. Same thing goes for love. Whatever you're doing on social media so that you can connect with people, connect in a state where if you are seeking love, that is the first thing you need to understand is you have to make a connection and you have to be vulnerable. First. Second, stop making assumptions. Assume positive intent. Stop making assumptions about what other people are thinking and feeling about you. It's not fair. How would you, if the tables, right, were reversed, the roles were reversed, tables reversed, is that a thing? I feel like I always come up with like these little sayings that don't really exist. But if the roles were reversed and you showed up and that person said to you, gosh, I thought that you would think this about me and you would think that about me and you would think this. And you're like, gosh, why would I even think that? How would I even think that? That would not sit well with you. It wouldn't sit well with me. I'd be like, don't assume what I think and feel. So you need to stop doing that, because most likely, my love, because you're assuming, because you're not putting yourself in a state of vulnerability, you are not attracting love. You're not. It doesn't have anything to do with you, because you are not capable. If you don't at least those two things, at least there's multiple things, but at least those two things, you're not going to attract love because you're not open. Love is connection. People want to connect. People want to connect to you. It's true. You have to believe it. You have to want to receive it by being vulnerable and stop making assumptions. Okay? That's it. That's all I have for you today. It's just this, it's a little episode for you today. Now, my love, if you're watching on YouTube, please make sure and subscribe and click that little bell so you are alerted when new episodes are uploaded. Make sure and like this episode and comment down below. What do you think of my hair? So comment down below. If you're listening on iTunes, I would love it if you would rate and review this episode. This is how other women can find us. And if you are on Facebook and Instagram, come and find me. Come and follow me. You can find me at Kat Cantrill over at Facebook and Instagram. And as always, my love, true love is waiting for you. And I will see you all next time. Bye.